And Dave, the first thing, we have double news for the Warriors. First, Klay Thompson's injury is an Achilles injury. He's out for the year, for sure.
He's done.
And we got actually confirmation on the Oubre trade of what the Warriors are sending. So Golden State finalized a trade to acquire Thunder forward Kelly Oubre Jr. for a 2021 protected first-round pick. Woj has the source of, the Warriors will convey that first-round pick next season should they finish between 21 and 30. So it is a top 20 protected pick. If they're in the top 20 next year, it stays with the Warriors. If they stay in the top 20, Dave, the Thunder will get 2 second-round picks instead. I'm going to say, smart fucking move by the Warriors. They're bringing in Oubre probably to try to offset the Klay Thompson injury. The fact that the Thunder are like, we don't, like, even if you're in the top 20, we don't care. Yeah. We don't care if you're in the top 20. Like, because the Klay injury could mean to where it's going to affect their season. But Dave, the question I want to ask is, will the Kelly Oubre trade offset the Klay Thompson injury? This ain't a for sure 1-for-1, but like,
it's not even close to a 1-for-1.
Are the Warriors like basically what I was thinking of, like, well, the Lakers are now the for sure favorite to win the West again?
Also in news, that Kennard trade that we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
The Clippers are receiving 4 second-round picks.
Shit.
3 from Detroit and 1 from Portland.
Okay.
So Clippers getting a little bit of late capital to help them maybe down the road.
Maybe.
Kelly Oubre, Klay Thompson, not the same player.
No.
Impact on the court, not the same. If I'm gonna say it, if Steph stays healthy, fingers crossed, and this is not a tanking season part two.
Let's talk perfect scenario. So let's say Steph is healthy.
They're healthy. Steph's healthy. You have Wiggins, you have Oubre, you have Wiseman, and you have Draymond Green out there.
Did you mention Wiggins?
Yeah, okay. Wiggins, Oubre, Draymond Green. Okay. That's a decent starting 4. That's 5.
That's 5. Me.
That's 5.
So what you would have Wiggins at the 2, Oubre at the 3?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. 100%. Steph, Wiggins, Oubre, Draymond, and the big man, James Wiseman. I love the idea of it, but it's not going to pan out. Like, this team went from top 3 team in the West to 8 through 6. I will say 6 at the high, 8 at the low, and that's only because James Wiseman should just be fucking great. He should hit the floor running. Him and Steph Curry should be able to make magic happen out there. And that's what I'm thinking. In my head, I'm going, the Suns added CP3. CP3 plus Ayton versus Steph plus Wiseman. It's about even, right? In my mind, it's about even. Because obviously, Steph is much better than CP3, but Ayton is much better than Wiseman. So, and somewhere in there, it evens out. But then you look at the pieces in between, and you go, I would much rather have Devin Booker, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges than Wiggins, Oubre, and a certain ball kicker that I hate in Drummond, or not Drummond. Wow, Draymond. Draymond.
I got you.
I just don't think the defensive loss of not having Klay there is going to be big, and the spacing is the big thing because Wiggins likes the mid range. Oubre likes the mid range. This is not the Warriors we know of, but could this turn into the best coaching job we've ever seen out of Steve Kerr? Could he find a way to take the discarded pieces of 2 different stars, and make them great?
I'm going to say this. I think that the Kelly Oubre trade does not make, because by offset, it's like, does Oubre coming in still keep the Warriors as, because the Warriors with Klay, when they got both Splash Brothers, like fucking Stephen A said, you gotta have both. You can't have just one. You gotta have both. Basically, I think, no, Oubre coming in does not make the Warriors with Klay, where it was basically, well, the top of the West is Lakers, Warriors, and then everyone else. Like, Lakers, Warriors were tier 1, then everyone else.
Nuggets, and everybody else.
But now with Oubre, no Klay, the Warriors might be tier 2, but they're not tier 1 anymore. To
Tier
me,
3.
like, even if they're tier 3, like, I'm not arguing where they are tier-wise. They're just not tier 1. The Lakers are now the clear favorite in the West.
I agree.
The interesting thing that I'm thinking of, and this is kudos to Bob Myers and the front office for the Warriors with the protection on the pick for Kelly Oubre, because top 20 means they can still make the playoffs and keep their pick. And I think that the Warriors with Oubre, they can still make the playoffs, even if they fall off and they're more like 6, 7, 8. What we thought this year before Steph went out, they can still keep their pick. All they have to do is basically around the 20th pick. So the Heat were the 20th pick. The Heat were 44-29 this year. That was around a 60 win percentage. So win 60% of your games, you're around the 20th pick. But you look at
West
teams,
it's going to be a bloodbath.
and you look at teams that were inside that: Dallas, Brooklyn, fucking the Blazers. Like, these were playoff teams. So for me, that is the most important part.
And
it's
remember the new playoff tourney.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the new playoff tourney. Yeah, that's right. The little play-in
if they
tournament.
do finish poorly, and they do finish 7th by some odds, or 8th, they would have play-in games to determine that final seeding.
So, could I ask a dumb question? Like a really dumb question? If you're the Warriors and you finish for the playoff, like in the play-in tourney, and it's a matter of, if we win the tourney, we're outside the top 20. If we lose, we're inside the top 20. At that point, do you say, let's just lose the play-in tourney game to keep our pick? Like,
no, if we're healthy, we're going.
Okay.
Anything can happen in the playoffs, baby.
Anybody
gets hot.
Good point. Like I said, dumb question.
He got to the finals, baby.
I just
we're 2 injuries away from competing in the finals.
Do you think this is a faux pas on the Thunder? I know why the Warriors want the protection on the 2020 because the 2020 or the 2021, because the 2021 draft is supposed to be very good.
Remember, Warriors playing with house money. They have the T-Wolves pick.
They do, but if they can keep their pick too, like, that's huge.
That would be huge, but same time, I would rather have a playoff run. Yeah. If you're in that position and you're healthy, playoff run. Come on. Come on, give me that series. Let me see what these kids are actually made of.
And the T-Wolves with the bust of the draft, maybe not winning too many games.
T-Wolves with the bust draft and a lack of defense and a lot of upside picks, but maybe not the most effective players today.
Yeah.
There's a chance that could be a top 10 pick. There's a chance. Question in chat.
Yeah, that's a Christian Wood signing to the Mavs. We'll focus on free agency after it happens.
Shut up about Christian Wood. Canto won't it, Soaps.
Shut up about Edwards. I just feel like the Klay Thompson injury obviously sucks for the Warriors. It's the worst thing to fucking see. Because, like, this is a Warriors team that's supposed to be comeback unloaded. Like, also, what does this mean for, like, does this change the Wiggins timeline where we thought of, like, oh, Wiggins, they're going to see how he does with Klay and Steph, and then we'll see if they move him or keep him. Will this be another situation of after this year? Could we be in the, well, we're not going to trade Wiggins because we didn't get to see everyone together because Klay wasn't there?
I think Oubre and Wiggins are in the same position. I think both of these guys are going to be on the block come the deadline if neither one of them is looking great. I think that with Steph out there...
Oubre's only got this year, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, where Wiggins has 2 more years after this.
Correct. I think both of them will be on the block by the deadline if they're not performing well. Having Steph out there is enough. You don't need Steph and Klay to find out what your offense looks like. You just need Steph. So with Steph out there, if Wiggins performs, great. We got a guy going forward we're happy with. He's still in his prime as Steph continues to get older. Now, if Oubre performs, great. We got a guy who can help us out, and we'll see what the re-signing would look like because we can go over the cap again to keep him here as an RFA. So it's win-win, really, if everything goes well. If everything goes bad, they can cut ties at midseason and not feel bad about it because what are we supposed to do? We got no Klay. The expectation wasn't that we would be a champion this year.
Yeah.
We got no Klay. Like, it's win-win. Again, house money. But again, this sets the timetable back. You have to look and be like, Steph's getting old. Steph is getting old, and Steph's ankles aren't going to get healthier. Klay, basically went from one leg injury to another injury now on the other because he's overcompensating perhaps too much. And you just have to wonder how much is that going to take a toll out of his game. I know he's not a sprinter on the court like JJ Redick type guy, with his athleticism, but he's still someone who needs the ability to be pretty athletic on the move. He doesn't need to bounce the ball because that's not what he does. But as long as his jumper looks good, he might take a knock on his defensive end, but the shots should still be pure.
Yeah, and I mean, the Warriors, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this year. No Klay Oubre.